Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning, everybody. We got GDP today. A little quiet, right? Everything looks like it's in order, though. So we'll go to the charts. So you can see here, well, Ninja Trader apparently is still loading. I thought I waited long enough, but apparently not. Because I'm still getting that spinning icon. Or Ninja. Okay, there we go. This takes forever. Wonder is this thing reporting the correct data to me here? Something doesn't seem quite right. Are we actually live? Yes, we are. Okay. All right. So, anyways, you can see we did end up moving lower yesterday in the Treasuries, so that kind of sucks. But it's okay. It wasn't like a complete disaster. Well, I mean, my trading was as bad as it gets, but we didn't do too much damage, right? Anyways, but we've moved back up into yesterday's balance area. Oh, we're still at the 15 area, so we're so. The E-mini faded a little bit towards the end of the day. Nothing too big. We got GDP on the schedule today. Where is that? We're looking for a reading of 2.2.2%. 2.2% with a price index of 1.3. This is the advanced GDP index. So we'll see. They're probably going to pull here, but man, what is with Ninja Trader? What is taking it so long? Meanwhile, Bitcoin took a huge, and I mean huge dump late yesterday. I think I'm going to reload my data here because it shouldn't be. Something's off. Something's off. And the E-mini is actually moving quite nicely as well. Well, I'm still waiting for the chart to load here. Oh, I'll just come back over here for now. Bum, 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 ba-dum. Yeah, I didn't start the stream as early. And nobody's watching. Had so many people watching yesterday, and now today, it's like YouTube hates me. YouTube really hates me. It is running though. You can see here if I refresh. And we are live. Well, it's kind of weird, but it's okay. Doesn't matter. Yep, we're okay. We're okay. We'll live. Is Ninja Trader done loading? Ah, okay. So, the question here is, okay, yesterday's low was 10.5. Previous low. Previous high was 18. Below that, 06.5. Oh 0605. Wait, is that 06? That's 005. Way down there. Single print. And then here at 29, low. And on the upside, probably going to have to bring this way back on the upside. 21.5. Okay, it's a high. It was a point of interest at one point. Well, that's way too high. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. I'll bring it back over here. Got some levels marked. I believe that when this report releases that we might get a really brief swing that is going to try and mess with us super hard. You got to remember that because it's Friday, they'll take the news trade, and then after that it can really die down. And sometimes they'll try and make it seem like it's going to go a lot further than it's going to. So that's why I'm going through and spending a little bit of extra time trying to figure out what my levels are, so that if we do end up catching a good trade here, I actually am preferring the downside, but we'll see what prices we can try and take this at when they pull. Well, they're pushing down through previous night's range. By the way, did I already say good morning, Uzi? Good morning, Uzi. I didn't post like my early, normally like I come downstairs and start the stream early, and I just completely forgot. And it definitely made a difference. So now we know that's a pretty good test of how effective that thing has been for you guys, and it sounds like it has been because a lot of people missed the little opening bits. So I apologize for that. This spread seems high to me. No, I don't know. It's kind of in the place. It could go back up to a high area too. Oh boy. Oh, you know what? While we're at it, we're gonna have to. Where is it? Strategy manager. Where's the strategy manager? Here it is. Let's just add a new one. Strategy ID 4. Actually, I want to be more like. There we go. Stop 4, target 6. Okay. Something like that. All right. Okay, so they're really pulling. Okay. Okay. Not filled. Oops. That's not what I wanted. Okay, so that pushed down really quickly. It was 3.2 versus an expected 2.3. Oh, geez, wow. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Okay, there we go. Perfect. No, I didn't actually get the strategy picked. Gosh dang it. Okay. Nope. Okay. Well, that's not what we wanted. It's really pushing back in it. That was a big, really big change. I'm surprised. Well, they broke through the previous low. I think that they should be able to get down to 0.6 half. Let's move it. I'm surprised. 3.2 versus 2.2. So a whole point. The estimate is a whole point above the estimates. Have we ever seen? Is that how normal is that? That's fairly abnormal. It's not the craziest that it's ever done, but that's fairly abnormal. Well, it's awfully. There's still. I'm still seeing a lot of buyers there, but they're getting absorbed. Well, that backflow against me at 11 from 11 was bad. I shouldn't have let that go as far against me as it did. This one is kind of like right where I want to take it for a retrace and push lower sort of a thing. So let's see if we get it. Because that would be super bizarre if they got above the open price at 15. But you never know. Um. So what was the price index? I missed that one. Could that have something to do with it? Price index was 0.9 versus 1.3. So the price index not less than expected. GDP's good, but prices aren't really going up. And so that gives them a reason to not raise interest rates. Man. Okay. So the 5 year is starting to get a little uh, wobbly. Oh, shit. Well, it's still going. That is fucking crazy. Wow. What is pushing it? The yen is moving up. That's maybe part of it. I'm so surprised. Okay. I think that they're probably going to go through that, and then they maybe could come back. There was a big enough iceberg, you know. Okay, so there's the 4. There's another iceberg there. Nope. Definitely not what I was expecting. Yeah. They didn't just pull that all the way back. They went and made new highs. There is some strong absorption up here, but it was a strong trend too. Okay, so there was a little bit of a pull there. Did Gabe take it long? I'm surprised. Okay. So they tried to take it short there, and it didn't hold. I'm surprised. Okay. So now they're above yesterday's high. Now there's 21.5 above us. Weirdo Tom Steyer, who didn't have the guts or money to run for president, is still trying to remain relevant by putting himself on ads begging for impeachment. He doesn't mention the fact that mine is perhaps the most successful first 2-year presidency in history. No C or O. What the hell does that mean? FTW, Fed's funds futures show odds of 2019 Fed cut steady post GDP. The quote unquote completely data independent Fed. The market does not seem to think that the data matters anymore. They seem to think that the Federal Reserve is beholden to the politics and aren't going to raise. I'm so shocked that they are buying it up here like this. This makes absolutely zero. Here's the thing. The whole reason that we're on this is because we had a rate hike in December that we shouldn't have had. And then everybody was freaking out that in the first 2 quarters of the year, they were going to have an earnings recession and that we were going to move down and that we were possibly going to have a recession. And now we're looking at the advanced quarter over quarter GDP for this quarter. And it was a whole point higher than we expected. It's not 3%, but it's still 2%, which is pretty much in line with what it has been for the past 10 years or whatever. And the Treasuries think that this is a golden opportunity to buy Treasuries up to new highs of the week. That makes absolutely no sense to me. And they are absorbing this like crazy up at the top. So they are going short on it. But it keeps stopping them out higher. Look at that right there. 8K now. Okay, 200 now. Sorry, at 20 rather. There was 11K traded. See? And it keeps stacking, like they're just going to keep pushing it. Well, I have no clue what's going on, folks. Maybe. Okay, this looks a little bit more like what I was looking for. Sure. They're able to make 19.5 go offer. There's a little bit push back into it, but it's not. It was took it a while. It was slow. I think that they're slowing down and they're going to pull back significantly. Yeah. Well, so far that is not what we wanted to see. The E-mini is pulling back a little bit, is not helping. Crap. Well, I think I might just be done for the day, guys. Okay. So that 19.5 pulled really quickly. But there's 73 stacking there. I want it stacks back up when they move up. I don't know. There's a lot. That is a lot trading back and forth here. Wow. So you got a big sell there. How are they able to get it to tick back up there? I don't understand. Well, there is a 21.5. There maybe they're trying to break that. So maybe I caught a spot, but I was just too early. Look at that. No inflation is for sure. I've held on to that 3 times now and been wrong fighting this trend. I feel real stupid. Given that this number will be revised 2 more times, quite the drama. I don't know. I don't think this is sustainable. I just don't. See, you see the big number like that, and I'm like, yeah, let's go short. I mean, the E-mini did like it. Overall, the E-mini liked it, and it's not doing what the treasuries are doing. Simultaneous block cells in Z and NZB. Well, they're just getting shoved up to new highs now. Now they're above any of the high indicators that we had placed. Like when I was like, okay, well, that's probably about high enough. Oh, there was 29.5. I don't know. See, this is like, hey, you can buy this. But now as soon as I do it, maybe it's going to fall apart. But that bid is still appears to be pumping. And oh, there is a big number. There is a big order right here in the 5-year. Should keep that in mind. There's not anything else above us, is there? Well, there is some in the 10-year. Funny. And now it's dead. 4K. April's point of control is at 23. Hmm. Okay. Not showing any signs of stopping. Well, that down ticket showed maybe a sign of stopping. It really changed on that downtick, didn't it? Normally, that's a good continuation signal right there. Is it giving a good continuation signal? But it's way right up there next to some pretty big orders. And they did go through the big order in the 5 year. So maybe I'm not seeing like a real complete flip yet. I am buying it though, which means that, there's a good chance that they're reversing it. But this whole thing seems crazy to me. It's also curious that it's just completely died down here, right? I wouldn't have expected this based on GDP, but I guess PCE is weighing more right now. Yeah, I think that the price index is definitely a component here. But the problem that I have with all this is that I just don't think that these particular prices are justified when the S&P 500 is basically hitting all-time highs. Like the Federal Reserve is going to come out next week and be hawkish. This is not a lot trading back and forth here now. Yeah. Shit, guys. I'm just like so off kilter with the market right now. Don't watch. Just don't watch. Fuck. I thought GDP would move us, so I tried to swing big, and it was a complete fucking disaster. And I feel that I am 100% falling for any of the traps. They ticked up there. They were given the continuation. They were saying we could continue 22 half. It goes down and stops me out and immediately reverses. Right? I'm not sure if I have any real reliable edge in this area or action because my spots are not holding. In fact, I'm picking the exact wrong spots. See that? That's not how you want to get filled. Peter says I'm holding. All right. They're really stirring the pot. Does that mean that somebody's trying to reverse? Or are they trying to get some more action to get above 24? Or you think it's going to go up till expiration, huh? I'm super skeptical about that. Man. Pantheon. The problem for the Fed now, though, is that if growth continues at anything like this pace, the labor market will tighten much further this year and the question of rate hikes will be back on the agenda. Exactly my point. There are no downside economic risks in today's GDP report, and this good news will be heard by markets around the world. Chris Rubley, MUFG, who apparently does not know how to pull up a 10-year bond. Well, listen, the 10-year bond is not omniscient. They fuck up sometimes, and this a move this strong up to the upside doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. GDP data squashes idea of Fed rate cuts. Exactly. For all we know, that they're stirring this up to smash it back down to where we were. That would be something else. You see how when they tick up or down, the next level pulls? Those birds. Okay, well, I think I've calmed down a little bit. I was definitely getting upset there. I need to look at a bigger chart. So they tick up there a little bit, pulls at 23.5. It's still thick. While the market is focused on the headline GDP market, the Treasury market is digging deeper, and Y yields are down as the final sales to private domestic purchases rose just 1.3%, the weakest since quarter two 2013. I don't know if that really matters though. I mean, I can say, sure, the the overall reading is bullish for bonds. The thing that I'm questioning is it this bullish for bonds? That's where I'm like, this seems a little overdone. I think probably they will bust through this next one or two price levels actually. So this is an ascending triangle. It's probably too late to get filled. Oh, okay. There's the level break setup. In trending action, and we have been having trending action up, it's a very reliable signal. But we've quite slowed down, and there's quite a bit of anticipation about this particular level, which kind of decreases the probability. So it's probably still a 50-50. Hmm. A little bit of a stack there, but the 10 and the 30 ticked up. Well, they're thickening up now. Having a hard time holding that 23.5. Look at the E-minis just still pushing up. The E-mini could move pretty good today because of all the nonsense from yesterday. Okay, so that didn't work. Safe Movers of New England says, glad to see you're focused on Bitcoin here, not a fan of alts. Well, I'm not really a fan of Bitcoin at this point. Oh, by the way, we were going to reload the data here to see if it had like missed some stuff. I am, so on the Bitcoin, we haven't talked about Bitcoin today yet, but on the Bitcoin, that story about Tether yesterday is super bad. And the Treasury market was already, um, wait, what did I just say? The Bitcoin market was already crazy overbought. The fact that they only came back about $400 after that news is really startling to me. Bitcoin, there is going to be a bloodbath in Bitcoin here. Because you've got a ton of people underwater now, and you have a real news story to freak people out. And that news story is probably only going to get worse as things move along. And it's really bad, okay? Like we're talking about 80% of Bitcoin volume, right? 80% of Bitcoin volume. And it could potentially just completely dry up. Yeah, that's going to affect you. You're not going to hold 5,000. No way. 2.1K. Yeah. And then the thing is the amount of money that they lost, it was like a third of their market cap in Tether. That's insane. That's really insane. And you have to think with the money that they've printed lately, how much of that is real, you know? Well, Ace is taking it long up at the high ends. I'm surprised. He always takes it short. I mean, I want to be long the E-mini. I don't know if I can buy it right there, though. I think I would rather try and take this in. It might give us a good. It might give us a good entry back in here. He says I want to go short, but the energy is long. I mean, I think given that the E-mini, well, wasn't that much down though yesterday though. What though was it? 29.34. 29.34 was like yesterday's high. And the day before that, it was 29.40. I think they could push those highs again today. Yeah. But so I see one scenario is that they come back and retest the VWAP and then they move up from there. So I'm kind of like just kind of holding and seeing if it gives me a better price. I heard that the crazy Bitcoin maximalists at BSV are currently live with 800 TPS. I haven't followed BSV because it was a complete disaster. What else can you say? I'm really concerned that I missed my short. I don't know if it's true. I haven't seen anything about that on Reddit today. I mean, the thing is it doesn't really matter. The thing that matters is that the thing that's been buying Bitcoin up is about to go kaput. I shouldn't say about to go kaput, but there is some real reason to be concerned about that company right now. And if Bitcoin falls, everything is going to fall. And Bitcoin Cash has just as much volume from Tether as Bitcoin does. And then if they fall, then we can look back at the Bitcoin, the BSV thing. Hmm. So there's still a really big liquidity, ton of liquidity here below us in the 30-year. Uzi says I'm eyeballing that. Yeah. If any of the instruments has a tendency to do something fucky, sorry, I shouldn't swear, but you get what I mean. Like if all of that were to pull, it would be ZB. So we kind of got to watch here if they decide to tick down into 18, what that thing does. This is volume right here. You see this right here in the 10. That looks to me like somebody going short here. They just went way past it. I think Tether has been scamming Bitcoin investors. I agree. Well, I have an indicator. So the reason that we have Bitcoin on here is that if you check out my Patreon, I have a chart that I post every day, trying to value Bitcoin and determine if Bitcoin is overbought or oversold based on transactions on the blockchain. And Bitcoin has been overbought for quite some time. When we had that last little flush, like when 6K fell, they started to get back to a reasonable price, but they stopped it before it got there, and then they pumped it right back up to overbought. So it seems to me like there is somebody out there buying this, or there is buying demand being created beyond which the blockchain has the ability to support. And one possible explanation for that would be that Tether is printing money. That would be a really logical explanation for what we're seeing. And so, yeah, whenever I hear anything about Tether like this, they're getting investigated, is I take note. So it's in the spot where I want to take it short in the treasuries, but they're doing this thing again. Did you see how when they ticked up there, they ticked back down? It was only 1261 to tick it back down, but that 22.5 immediately pulled, and 1277 went into it. So there's probably still some possibility of pulling some stops and stuff. I think I should wait and try and see if there's an overextension one way or another. Well, the 30-year definitely bounced off of that liquidity. I think they're scalping the new investors. I think that probably they have how do you say this? Say you're printing money and it goes up, and then you don't take profits on that, right? And then you hold and hold and hold, and it goes down below 6K, right? So now you're underwater and you printed a ton of money, and what do? You print again. So I think that the reason that they've been, and then it falls, and they aggressively hold it and push it back up. And one of the emails was saying, hey, if we don't act soon, Bitcoin price could move down to 1,000. That says to me that they are watching exactly the same thing that I am, because those are the prices that I was looking at. So I think that this is a case of like they're committing a fraud, and then things didn't go the way that they expected it to, because they're manipulating and they expect their manipulation to just always work. And then it didn't work, they doubled down. So if they actually do go kaput, it's going to be really, really bad. Let's see, that was kind of what I was worried about there at 23.5. I was pushing it right back up there to that high. They seem to really want to move it up there, and there's a lot stacked at 22.5. Massive wealth transfer scheme. I mean, I don't think that I don't buy into this conspiracy theory that it was created by the CIA to transfer wealth or anything like that. But yeah, any trading instrument is a wealth transfer instrument, right? Normally, for the most part, it transfers wealth to the people with the largest accounts. That's the problem. I think that when it was like floor trading, it was fair because you could know who was who. Well, it wasn't fair, but it was a little bit more fair than it is now. The way that it is now, I'm not surprised that 95% of traders fail, because you're going to get time periods where there's reasons for it to move. And so if you're a small and nimble investor, you can definitely take advantage of it. So today would probably be a good example of it, even though I did not believe it. But today was a day where you could easily have gotten in at the bottom and made $1,000, right? But then it'll slow down and there's not a reason to move, and your nimbleness no longer is a benefit to you, and the big guys will just shove you around and stop you out. Right? So it's transferring wealth in one way or another. Bitcoin, though, is particularly devious because, man, it can just move so much, and then it moves up and so many people get interested in it right at the top because of the way that it moves. There's no way for them to know if it's overvalued or not. 7 minutes into the equities open. Only just a teeny tiny little trickle back into 23.5. I don't know, guys. This at the moment no longer looks to me like something that's going to reverse hard. They're dying down because of the E-mini, but they're sitting right up there at the high. Maybe waiting for a sell in the E-mini going into the open. There is a few price targets above us in the 10-year, but they're not as that super strong. They do keep leaving a little bit behind there at 24. This big line down here in ZB2 at 18 is still there. Do you think the state and financial world will let some unknown people turn the money system on your head without you knowing about it and having the control? Yeah. Well, listen, it was just some random guy created a coin. We have no clue who it is. There's no proof that it was anybody important. The power, quote unquote, power brokers of the world aren't going to care, right? The amount of money that is pushing through Bitcoin, although it seems a lot to us, pales in comparison to the sorts of things that they're pushing over here in treasuries and things like that. And if they're able to use the technology to transfer money around cheaper, then they're totally going to do that. But Bitcoin's not going to replace the dollar. No way. It can't happen. And you can see the behavior of Bitcoin and the way that it works to see that that's never going to happen. Anytime that it ever picks up enough traction to where people think that there's going to be like a real economy based off of it, people are going to buy it too high and it's going to completely collapse. And then they start all over again. And so it's just the continual bubble machine. If that's what it's really doing, and you're, the Illuminati or whoever it is, why would you be concerned? I wouldn't be concerned. I would just be like, oh, okay, here's a good way for me to steal money. Not steal money, but, here's a good way for me to make money off of suckers. That's what I would be thinking. I kind of had a little bit of a change in attitude yesterday, I think, about Bitcoin, because normally it's just another shit product for uninformed investors to trade and with market makers to suck money from them with. Yeah, exactly. That's the way that we treat it. I kind of had a shift yesterday, because normally when it moves down like that, I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, like all these people, I'm trying to tell them that it's overbought and look at how much money they're losing, and this is just super crazy and kind of sad. Now I'm like, you know what? I gave you fuckers plenty of time. I did everything that I could to say, hey, this thing is overbought. And y'all didn't listen. And if you lose money, that's your own damn fault. So I say, sell this shit. Sell it. I want to see the pain. It should not be $5,200. It should be like $1,000. And if you stand in the way of that, you're dumb. That's the way that I feel right now about Bitcoin. Sorry if that was a little bit too much, but it's just enough is enough with it, Is there a best stable coin to go into? Well, so I wouldn't go into USDT. I think that the Coinbase one, so I believe that's USDC, right? Should be safe. I think that they've established themselves as a reliable actor in the space. I also believe that DAI has really proven itself through a lot of this. So I really like DAI. I think DAI is an interesting coin. So, but I personally, I don't try and just move it between chains. I just convert it into cash. So, okay, well, they traded into 24 and there was an 89 there. And here comes the E-mini. First impulse appears to be a sell. It wasn't incredibly strong. Anyone with enough capital and Bitcoin inventory can open an exchange. The rise and fall of crypto exchanges has established as much as star and exchange bait, and some suckers jack their money. Yeah, totally. Well, I think that anybody that day trades Bitcoin, they're basically just giving their money to the exchange. That's basically how that works. That's why I say, if you're going to trade Bitcoin, you've got to do it on a very, very long time horizon. And you've got to do it when the risk rewards are correct. And so all of this buying that happened at 3,000 was not, it was still overbought there at that place. And so you got all these people that bought it from 3,000 to 5,000. And look what's happening to them. And then after it went to 5,000, then there was a rush of retail investors that came in above 5,000. If Bitcoin closes below 5,000 today, it's going to be a bloodbath. A complete bloodbath. Because really, think about how much money is along there. How much pain can they really handle? Can they really handle a 50% decrease in value? Where do you convert to cash at? And do you actually send it back to your bank? Are you waiting for cash and then ready to buy back in? So with Coinbase, the way that it works now, you can transfer money there a lot faster. And that's really the only legal way to convert into US dollars in the United States. So yeah, you sell it on Coinbase, convert it to dollars, bring it back to your bank account. I don't think that Coinbase is going to go kaput, but you never know. And then when it's getting close to time, you should be able to transfer it over there whenever you want. Okay, so they really moved down there. Now they're to a spot where I'm not so sure that I can sell it. That's interesting. Shouldn't mess with this for a few minutes. I'm in Canada. Oh man, their largest exchange got messed up, didn't they? Futures brokers seems like they wanted to convince me not to trade futures. The whole time it was about bringing the savings of little people to the markets that are uncontrollable because they just lie somewhere for so long. So it was cleaned up and everyone is happy. I would remind everybody to get their coins off exchanges. Yeah. Well, yeah, the whole thing that happened there with that exchange in Canada is pretty crazy. But Canadians can create Coinbase accounts too, right? Hmm. I really wish that I had just seen that sell, because now it's. I think that we're probably going to bust down to 200 and below, but I can't just sell it at 21.5 because there's too much probability of them pushing us back up to here first. Okay, so the volume in the E-mini was short for the first 5 minutes. Hmm. The amount that it came down was not was quite a lot compared to the volume that it went with. It seems to me that in the treasuries there are some actors out there that are responsible for so much of the liquidity that they can pretty much make it tick any way that they want just by pulling their liquidity. Is that crazy to say that? I don't think that they're irresponsible about it or that it makes it unfair or anything, but it just seems like you get in those situations, it pulls and it just moves, you know, wherever it wants to, irregardless of the volume that it's trading. Uzi says, no, I agree. Okay. See, so it is going a little bit lower there, but the E-mini bought and is back at the high of the opening range. They got back up there awfully quickly too, didn't they? Mm, that was the wrong spot. Damn. Well, that was just a disaster. Hmm. Okay. Well, sometimes that can happen. What's up with the Bitcoin Tether fudge? Should I sell all my Bitcoin now? Um, in my opinion, well, I mean, I've been saying that Bitcoin is overbought for a while. So you just missed the whole big rant. So now I'm going to be really calm about it so that you can calm down. All right. In my opinion, Bitcoin is overbought and has been for quite some time. And we just had a really, really bad story here about Tether. And we've moved down about $500, if that. Um, that is pretty, what is the word? That it's pretty lucky that that's all we have fallen, because if Tether, is removed from the market, that's like 80% of the volume out there, right? So, yeah, I would not want to be long Bitcoin right now, personally. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everything is fine and they're just holding it. Because I mean, the fact that it's holding that price does speak for something. But and I haven't been in Bitcoin for a very, very long time because it's been going down. Not since it was at 10K, right? When it was moving up to 10K, I took profit and got out. But my view is that they're giving you a second chance to get out. That's my opinion. But I am not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to trade. You got to make the trades that are right for your financial conditions. Is that right? Yeah, they sold that, man. That one there in the E-mini was maybe kind of just luck, but man, it sure didn't feel good, did it? Like, as soon as I bought it, it just went, goosh. I missed it. So do you see how he's pulling the offer and not very many are hitting into him? Get out into another stabler coin. Yeah, so we were saying, there are some stable coins like the Coinbase stable coin or DAI, but I think the most stable coin is US dollars. So so I don't understand why when that happens everybody thinks, "Oh, I just need to move it into a different coin." Cuz the whole cryptocurrency ecosystem is going to move down. Is what I would expect to happen. And so I don't think you want to be in cryptocurrencies. I think you want to be in dollars. If you can. If I had money, I would be selling it all on Coinbase. Well, I mean, I do have the garlic coins still. I have a lot of. I am apparently I am one of the largest holders of garlic coin now. And I keep meaning to pull things out and figure out a way that we can like give away some of it free on the stream, but I'm just too lazy. I haven't gotten around to it yet. But we have some garlic coin to throw to give away because I have way more than I ever intended on having. I'm so pissed that I didn't get filled at 22.5, man. I looked at the Bitcoin the SFE Telegram, and after reviewing it, I think those boys are onto something. It looks like they have a pretty solid plan to kill all alts and to bring Bitcoin back. Oh man, I wouldn't listen to what those guys say. They are full of shit. Okay, that whole thing, just my opinion, but that whole thing that happened when they split off with Bitcoin, and they're like, we're going to attack this chain and we're going to do this and that. A lot of the things that they were saying before the event was total bullshit and didn't happen. And then they did the attack and they tried everything that they could to try and kill Bitcoin Cash. And it did result in, it did kind of create a little bit of a trigger for the market to move down, although the Bitcoin market was already overvalued. So it made sense that everybody would move down. But the things that they said that were going to happen never happened. And I kind of feel that they were proven to just be a bunch of bluster. And not only that, but the guy that makes that coin is insane. And everything that he says is bullshit. Like he says that he's Satoshi. He's not Satoshi. 100% guarantee you that he is not Satoshi. I think that one's been proven pretty well now. So I wouldn't I wouldn't listen to a thing that those shitheads say. Pardon my language. I'm feeling impulsive and like you can tell because I just want to say shit. Huh? Okay. Okay. Don't hold back, Seth. Tell us how you feel. Well, I'm glad that you guys appreciate it. Sometimes I'll say things and then I'll look at the viewer count and I'm like, oh, there's all the casuals went away. I'm scaring them away from trading. I just had a negative impact on their life. Well, maybe it was a positive impact on their life because 80% of them are going to lose money, right? But that's that's the way that I think of it. I'm always like, I feel like, okay, because we have an audience here now, I have to be responsible. I haven't been responsible today, have I? Now I'm just tilting. Well, the indexes are being pretty, I don't know. So they're saying that Bitcoin Cash added checkpoints to their chain, which technically breaks. So that is true that they added checkpoints. Um, from a philosophical point of view, I don't care, but I'm sure there are people that are really, really into the crypto space that have strong opinions on that. But they kind of had no choice, I think. You know, they stuck because these guys were saying, "Hey, we're just going to attack you." I don't think. What are you gonna do? You know? Oh, well, we're just gonna let them attack us and take all of our money. No, hell no, you're not gonna do that. You're gonna protect yourself. And they had a solution. So, if you didn't want them to put those checkpoints in there, don't attack them. I don't know if it means they stepped out of the game. The thing that here's the way that I look at it. Like whether or not it is the most pure coin or it follows Satoshi's original vision the most, or it has the best governance to finally become the world currency. I don't think that any of that is ever going to happen. The only thing that I care about is how much money is moving through that chain. That is the thing that has the most direct influence on price. I really want to take a short here, by the way, and the market is being choppy, and so I'm just staying out. I might not ever get my trade. Anyways, the only thing that really matters is how much money is moving through the blockchain, right? If there's a lot of money moving around in the blockchain, that coin is worth more. That's the only thing that matters for us trading, at least on a long time horizon. Okay. Are people using Bitcoin SV to actually do commerce? Hell no. All of the reasonable people that understand what's going on and are involved in making Bitcoin something that you can actually transfer money with and do commerce with are all in Bitcoin Cash. Well, I guess if you say that makes them an altcoin, who cares? Doesn't really matter if they're an altcoin or not. It just matters. The only thing that matters is if it's going to go up in the future. Right now, they're all going to go down, so I guess it's splitting hairs. I think I understand your point of view because there's this kind of this question of like eventually there's somebody that's going to be on top, and I believe that the one that's going to be on top is the one that most closely follows Satoshi's vision, and we need to continue that thing through to its fruition. And there's only three out there that really want to try and claim that mantle, and it's Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin SV. Now, Bitcoin SV's contention is that Bitcoin Cash changed the protocol enough that they're no longer really Bitcoin. I say that Bitcoin SV are a bunch of shitheads, and it doesn't matter what they say. They're not really in true contention for it. And if Bitcoin Cash is not really Bitcoin anymore, and I really don't think that Bitcoin itself, with limiting the blocks, is really very sustainable, then that just means that Bitcoin is dead, because it is an SV, man. I'll tell you that much. And honestly, that guy, this is the thing that this is the only reason why I'm a little bit animated about this particular thing, is that guy, Craig Wright, is a complete fucking moron. I have never in my life seen somebody so insane and just blatantly trying to scam everybody. It makes me mad just watching him say so many things that I know are just outright lies. It's really frustrating, and anybody that is over there invested in it and is following that guy is an idiot. Gullible idiot. Any of those people come over here and trade futures so that we can take their money. Because really, they're just like, yeah, 800 transactions per second is pretty wild. Well, there's a lot of transactions on all of them. One of the things you got to watch for is the coins that it seems to me like they've realized that the amount of transactions matters, and so they'll like spam transactions, like tiny little transactions for no reason, or doing things that are like not really very useful, you know. But what really matters is when you're getting, you know, lots of transactions, and those transactions are big, and those transactions are actually being used for things. So like I could have based my indicator on what is the total number of transactions there. Or I could have even gone and tried to say something like, okay, take the timestamp of every transaction and match it up to what the price was on the exchange at that time, and add them all up to try and determine how much money all of the transactions in that day were worth. But so many of those transactions are just complete nonsense, right? So we have to watch it. We have to look at it a little bit differently. We have to filter and say, okay, stuff moving from here to here doesn't really matter, because we know that particular address does this, and that it doesn't actually contribute to the ecosystem. That it's just spam, right? Also, have you watched any full speeches of his, not just news clips? Well, so I remember the day that they split the blockchain and people were doing interviews with him. Complete fucking idiot. No joke. He is like, and he's all into the conspiracy theories, and he's saying all sorts of nonsense. I don't think that he believes a word of it. I really don't. I think that he is some guy that happened to have a lot of money, thinks that he's really smart, but isn't. And he is trying to play up to a stereotype, what he believes that the conspiracy theorists are like, and he's trying to play up to that trope and play to those people. That's what I think he's doing. Because there's no way that anybody believes all that shit. It's just too dumb. What a roller coaster of a day. It's really quite interesting the way that this profile is developed here between 23.5 and 21.5. Every transaction, including spam, does help miners. Yeah, I suppose. But it's again, the thing that matters is the overall amount of money that's in there. You know, that's why Bitcoin continues to be overbought here, even though they've moved up, and there has been a lot of transactions. It's because they're all little teeny tiny transactions, and the people aren't actually moving their coins from the exchange out into the wallet so that they can actually use it and do commerce with it. And so at that point, if people aren't actually using it, then what is it good for? At that point, it's only good as a trading vehicle. And so the only reason that it's going to move up or down is if more people buy or sell it. Do you think after this story with Tether, where we're saying that up to 80%, up to 80% of all Bitcoin volume might be like a complete scam, do you think that more people are going to come into the cryptocurrency market and buy it? Probably not. The number of, and you have a bunch, I think that probably all of the people that are really interested in Bitcoin and are trying to play that are probably along right now. Well, a couple of them probably panicked and sold. But for the most part, I think that most of them are along. And in order for Bitcoin to move up, you're going to need more money. And if you're not going to get that more money from Tether, then we're going to go down. Well, 22.5 did finally go bid. The E-mini is falling out there. Every single transaction supports the network as equally as any other transaction. So like in terms of like the health of the network, sure, but in terms of what the coin is worth, no. Because the only reason that a cryptocurrency has value, the only reason that it's worth anything is because you can make transactions with it. The worth of that transaction is directly proportional to the amount of money that you could actually transact on it, right? So is one Bitcoin worth $5,000 if you couldn't actually take that and get somebody else to buy it from you for $5,000? There's not enough people with enough money out there to take it from you, then it's not actually worth $5,000, right? If there's only people out there, the amount of money that they actually have is actually $2,000, and that's just all that they have, like all the people that are actually interested in Bitcoin, then the most that it can be worth is $2,000, right? So the amount of money going through the chain matters and is the most predictive thing of the price. Like you can, go and look at the Patreon. You can see when it gets to certain levels, it turns. And it can only get so high before like a crash is basically inevitable because everybody is bought in and they're not doing transactions with it. As I said before, thanks to Bitcoin, I now have friends who bought at 2Koi and think they, as a result, are great traders and learned a lot about the markets. Yeah, right? Well, I think... So we got to talk about something else here. So, guys ever read Reminiscences of a Stock Trader or a Stock Market Operator, I think is what it's called. And that's like Jesse Laurent Livermore. It was about him, I guess. And he, in that book at one point, he has like his golden rules for trading, right? And he has a couple of good trades. One of the ones that he said is never add to losers. So I know, yeah, Jesse Livermore, sorry. So we were talking about this in chat the other day about like averaging out losers, averaging out of losers, don't do it. If you're scalping straight up, don't do it. I know people will say, well, if it's a part of your strategy and yada yada yada. No. Okay. There are some people out there that maybe they are trading a big size, or they're swing trading, and it's like they're not going to get their whole thing filled at one particular price, and so they have to average into it. Okay. That's okay for them. But for you, if you're trading, 1 to 5 lots and you're scalping and you're day trading, do not, I repeat, do not average losers. I guarantee you, like, you can go in and do the math. Overall, you will lose, because the losses that you will get from doing that are worth so much more than the losses that you avoid from averaging out of. It is not worth it. And it has such a negative impact on your psychology, because you double down on something instead of just, it's negative. It causes you to hold on to losers. It has an effect on your psychology that is very, very bad. So never do it. Okay. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. And there's another thing that he says, and he says, no person can always make money trading, the same product all the time. If you go in and you trade ZN and you are trading like the exact same set automated strategy every day, and you do it like you take a trade every day, you're not going to be profitable. You're going to have a time period like me. You can have a time period where you're going to do really, really well, because the market happens to be in the kind of action that is conducive to the way that you trade. And the truth is that probably just about any way that you trade is probably going to create a win streak on you at some point, one way or another. That's just the way that it kind of is. But eventually the market is going to change, and then you're going to lose money hand over fist. And you're probably going to try and double down, and it probably switches right about the time that you decided to size up, and you're going to lose it all. So you have to know when the market is conducive to your trade and when it's not. I think on a much smaller scale, our friend here, Ace, who is a very, very good trader, is from what I've seen so far, you notice he only takes trade at a specific time of day, right? So he knows that there are certain time periods, certain situations where the trade that he take doesn't work. So yeah, these people in Bitcoin, that's what happens to them, is they'll get in at a certain spot and they think, oh, I'm a genius, because they caught a trend. When the truth is they just got fucking lucky that they were in, that the point at which they became interested in Bitcoin happened to be a time period where they could have bought it for a good price, and they caught some momentum and they made a ton of money on it, right? And then what happens is it goes to an overbought level. They don't know it. They don't make any kind of adjustment, and they lose it all, or they lose 50 to 80% of it, and then they become, the hodl religion, which in my opinion is just another scam to convince people to not get out so that other people can take their money. That's how my month has been. Caught that shit early though, so I got my knots, but I haven't broke nothing. Regression to the mean. Any activity that has some random variable will eventually yield out of ordinary results with a regression to the average at some point. Exactly. Okay, so they traded a little briefly at 21.5, but they're already pulling back here. But at that move down, I thought was pretty trendy, and I think that we might have some reversion back to 20, but I might just take it off. Well, it's 803. we're in a time period where we're okay to take a trade. I should be I shouldn't be greedy though because it's Friday and the big trade has already happened. And so unless this thing is about to like completely reverse for no reason, Ryan BK cheeseburgers are best for breakfast. You know that quote, how market's been treating you like a baby treats the diaper? I've never heard that before. And they're totally like, and just looking back at this market, I think that I've had some bad trading. I'm trying to make the adjustment, and I think that this time of year is the hardest because it is becoming less trendy, but there's still trends. And so you kind of have to play it move by move, figuring out which one it is, you know? The other day, was it yesterday? The other day it wasn't trendy, was it? And how do you know? How do you know which one it's going to be? It's super hard. It's super hard. But that's why I say that probably I only you know, somewhere around March, you either reduce your size or move over to sim. And maybe sometimes you take trades when you know that there's like news and it looks like a really, really good opportunity. And during this time, when it starts to look choppy, don't touch it. Like this right here. I shouldn't have moved it. Let me move it over here. Let me keep it over here. I'm trying to get myself into the habit of not moving it so that I don't screw up my nice pretty grid over here. Okay, over on this side. Okay. So here on my one range charts, remember when you're getting gaps like this, that's choppy, right? That meant that they were trading 22 half and 22, and then they downticked and they traded into 21 half and nobody bought back into 22, and then they immediately bought. They sold 21, right? And that often also indicates pulling, right? And that's what was happening around here. So when you see that, don't trade. Now, sometimes when we're in the trendy time of the year, they will do that as a way to stir the markets up and get some fills before they make a big move. And sometimes they'll kind of give action like that and continue on the trend. But once we get into this time of the year, you see that you've got to stay out of it. Okay. So they're pushing down here. They tried going into 21. Well, I don't want to say that they tried, but you know, they did tick into it, but then they've come back. And the E-mini is still kind of going down. Well, they've had a pullback, let's say. Come back over to here. I was up 4 ticks the first 2 days of this week, lost 5 ticks on the next 2 days, and today I'm up 6 ticks, so made it back, but it was hard. That's difficult. Well, you traded a lot. I think that you were a lot smarter than me, man, to have only moved that much. Because, man, you could, if you overtrade it, that's where I start to run into problems, is if you overtrade it, it can be really super bad. And you lose so much in commissions during this time too, you know? I don't know. So the issue that we're having is that there's still this big, massive liquidity in the 30-year. Maybe we go through it, but you have to wonder, you know, why put it there unless you wanted it to trade? Also, the spreads are doing something weird. Quite odd, to be honest. We did flatten. Well, the short end of the curve flattened. The 30-year is, sorry, the knob spread is kind of unchanged to maybe slightly higher. That could be why there's all that buying, is because of the spread. Let's post that in there. It's interesting that in the 10-year, all of the absorption and the overall level 2 is a sell, but not in the 30. And the 5 is kind of done both, and so it's unclear. Well, the E-mini is building some good delta there, so I think that they could continue to move up, and I think that would help. Might need currencies to move, though, for this to really... The Japanese yen really moved. That's what really pushed us up. Well, it's not what really pushed us up, but there was really strong correlation with it, wasn't there? Bum 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 ba-dum bum ba-dum bum. White House advisor Kudlow says Trump would like to meet China's Xi and close a trade deal, but we're not there yet, says Fox News. Oh, on an interview on Fox News. Might be why it's doing what it is. Revo says going to eat those birds, nom nom nom. I think he's replying to my comment about that there's all this liquidity here in ZB. For those that are new and you don't know what we're talking about this right here where I'm highlighting. The market at the moment seems reluctant to sell into that. It's fairly quiet and balanced at 22 in the 10-year. That delta in the 10-year and the 30-year is pretty wild too. Look at that. And we've been in it for 15 minutes. I really think this guy wants it. I think he's a spreader. wants to buy it to flatten the curve. They're trying to take the knob. I think they're trying to flatten the knob. Peter says hi. Oh, he's watching from his living room on his television. That's cool. That's a great way to do it. Then you got the dom up on the big screen, and you can just kind of sit back and relax and let your swing trades go instead of having to be glued to your computer screen. I like it. A nice open room. Sometimes when I'm in here, I feel like I'm in the cave or something. Even though it's a pretty big, I mean, it's not like a tiny room or anything, but. Do you have any favorite altcoins? Well, so my favorite altcoin is Garlic Coin because I own so much of it. I never bought any of it. I mined it all, but I have a lot of Garlic Coin. So yeah, if you want to do a pump and dump on anything, you should do it on Garlic Coin, please. If it's the thing that you got to remember about Garlic Coin is that there's only like 69 million coins. And I think they've already mined out like half. So yeah. If it ever actually got some activity, like if anybody ever picked it up and built an ecosystem around it and made some cool website that actually had some real activity on it, Garlic Coin could be worth a lot. So, because there's so few coins, so it's like a real like the best example of like a shit coin and hope it goes to the moon. But that's what it is. Okay, we are seeing some buying in the E-mini still. ZN came back on us a little bit, but it's not a huge deal yet. It kind of still looks like they're kind of chipping around a little bit, trying to mess you up. Look at that, and they just kind of tick up. It's interesting to watch the mini like that. Anyways, so some of the other altcoins that I look at, always Ethereum is always going to be a big one, right? Ethereum really created the last big run, and it has name popularity, so that's always going to be one that you got to watch for. I think that even though I'm not particularly enamored with the coin and the people behind it and everything itself, the whole oh my gosh, I had the name in my head and I just lost it. What do we call it? Ripple. That's right, Ripple. I think that Ripple always gets when it runs, and so I think in the next, if we ever do get another bull market again, but in the next bull market, I think that Ripple could be one to watch. I also I believe it is Stellar, because they have support from IBM, so that's one to watch. Bitcoin Cash, of course, because they appear to be the most invested in actually using it, and money being actually the amount of money being transacted, as I've said before, is a very big deal. So those are kind of the top. Anything that is really useful or fast, or Maker, I think has proven itself to be worthy of something. IOTA, I've always been interested in IOTA, but I've never been able to quite get myself to buy into that particular one. I always really liked Sia Coin, so I mined a bunch of Sia Coin, and I made a ton of money on Sia Coin. I made like almost $1,000 on Sia Coin. Yeah, those are the main ones that I look at. Hmm. Well, it seems like I kind of missed a profit taking opportunity there for sure. Never quite gave me what I wanted, did it? The E-mini is still moving up. Although that might be as far as it goes. Man, so they're stacking up here in the 30-year still. Hmm. There's not anything up here below. No, there's not. Let's like zoom really far in on it. So we can kind of see if there's any kind of small aberrations that we're missing. Anything else slightly more legit than garlic coin? I'm telling you, man. It's the one. Of course, it's extremely speculative, but I'm just saying, if we get a good developer in on Garlic Coin, and somebody makes like a betting website that allows you to do something really fun with Garlic Coin on the cheap, that coin could really take off. Lucas says it looks like they will eventually pull and it might fall all the way down to 13 at least. I don't know. They've moved into it several times and bounced off of it. I believe the chances of that just straight up pulling are really low. Or if they do pull, there will still be probably that much trade there. Now they're doing the zipper thing. Yes, still moving up. Let's clear the current trades up so that we can see where it's been. Because I don't think that was a new swing high. No, it wasn't. It's close though. Oh, can you elaborate on the zipper? Yeah. You see this little pattern on my one range chart that looks like a zipper? You see that? Or like this one up here. They're 50-50 zones. It's very difficult to predict which way it's going to go when you get that. I believe that it is just really big guys kind of shuffling around their positions with each other. If it goes long enough, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this one is 11, right? This one is, we'll count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. When it gets to 11, you can reverse it. Good one tickers. They can be. The problem, the what you will see happen, the reason that these get caused is that everybody's trading right here in the middle. And if you're sitting here on the edge, you might not be getting filled until it actually breaks out. Right? So, but if it's at 11, there is a statistical edge that I have that I'm sharing with you, and probably will go away at some point. But there's a statistical edge that when it gets to 11, that they tend to reverse from. So if they were moving up into it right here, this was moving up, then they will reverse down, and they will reverse down for at least 2 ticks. So you will at least get that right there. So it's a very, very small micro trade. But yeah, you can get one there too. Kind of, if you were looking for one, I don't know how to do it, but I know that there's got to be a way. But I've tried to figure it out, and I've never been able to do it. Let's see if I can find one here in CB. Oh yeah, sure, they had one right here. Okay. ZB has this tendency. Well, hold on. Where are we at? Okay, E-menu still go on. Came down a few. Okay. And the ZB has this tendency to create these boxes like this. You see that? So the problem with this trade is being able to predict when it's going to happen. Because when you're right here, you certainly don't know that that's what's happening. And then, if you wanted to buy it, for instance, and then when it does that, maybe then you could take it at that point. But basically the gist of this one is you want to take it here and you want to buy it probably here. Take it off here, right? So you can sell and get 2 ticks in CB if you know that one of those is about to form, which I have no way of predicting it. But that's probably a better one because ZB, because it's doing it in a range, that means that through this whole area right here, so really everywhere, and now we'll come back over here and look at the DOM. This whole area here in this distribution profile, you have a high probability of fills. So you can scalp for ticks. Assuming that you know that it's going to turn into one of those chop zones. But like I said, I've never been able to figure out how to predict them. I've made money off of them, but I was never able to turn it into a strategy. Do you think that specific pattern can be automated? So the zipper one can be. But I still like to do it discretionary. So like one of the things that I've noticed with the zipper is that if you have a zipper and it's at like the high of the day, the probability on it disappears. It becomes random at that point. It seems like that the zipper matters more when there's not a lot of interest. You get what I mean? Doesn't seem like the market has a clear idea of where things want to go. And it sits there in that range for that long. At that point, somebody's bound to go short for some reason. I don't know what the deal is, but man, so now here's the E-mini about to reach a new regular session high. But not a overnight high, because you'd still have to get to the 2932. Anyways, but I back tested it in NinjaTrader. Like I wrote up a strategy and I said, set the conditions and everything. And that's how I know the probabilities on it, because that's the back tested probability. And then I started doing it with discretion. And I tracked whenever I took it in a spreadsheet for a couple of months, and all of the probabilities held. And I paid particular attention to whether you would get filled or not, because the trade is all completely based off of whether you get filled or not, right? But so I'll tell you something else about that trade though, and I think this is the really useful part about it, right? Because if you just get one tick, the problem with the zipper thing is that it doesn't happen very often. And oftentimes I'm not paying attention when it does, unfortunately. Ah, man. Maybe I should have taken 22. Well, it is 30 minutes, so I think that I will, if I can get out. Okay. Anyways, I think that there's a larger theory to it, and that is that if you get a zipper Coming back over to here to this. When you have a zipper like this, that middle zone, you have a high probability of fill. That is like they're only ticking up and down with 600, you know? Like you can see it doing it right here, right now. Well, they kind of changed, but, you know, they're trading back and forth across 22.5. See? It's pulling. It might even pull the 500 and then it tick up on 500. They're not bidding or offering a lot there. And so you have a high probability of getting a fill there. High probability of getting a fill. That's why you notice I'll always put these little eyes. So say, okay. For some reason, this is an interest area. This is like, okay, sellers want to sell it down to here and buyers want to buy it up to here. And this is the price that they apparently have agreed upon that they think is fair. And they're not really willing to stick their neck out for, you know, past this particular number. So it's consolidation essentially. So the way that you can use this, especially if it's range bound, is that you can say, okay, if I'm taking a trade, I want to be short above this zone or long below it. Did I say that right? If I'm short, I want to be above it. And if I'm long, I want to be below it. And so you can see here, in this case, it's been at 22 and 22.5. So if we were to buy, I would have to buy at 21.5 to get a better than average position. Because if you're just only getting an average position, then your probability and the amount that you take out is just going to be average, and you're probably just going to come out break even. So it's kind of like a statistical noise sort of a thing for you to determine when it gets into an area like that, which price should I actually take? Now, when it gets fast, it's not so helpful, right? Because they usually don't form those, and by the time you see it, it might be too late. During consolidation, I try to identify patterns and lean towards the probable future. Yeah. The thing that's hard is like for instance, with this zipper thing, I did so many different things to try and find a statistical edge about which way it was going to go. And I did find one way, and I don't really remember what it was, and I'm not so sure that it was reliable in backtesting. Well, because it was backtested. But I found one thing that gave me a 55% probability of getting it. But the risk reward for it wasn't enough to make it profitable. So it's like, that's kind of the other thing, is that when it does form a zone like that, if you don't have something larger that tells you, gives you a really good idea of where it's going to go, it's probably best to just stay out. You know? And if you've taken a good trade and you have a profitable trade and it's done that, that's usually an indication to me they've found balance. Like, you take it off at that point. Now this one, it wasn't really showing that when it was down at the prices that I wanted, so this particular one didn't really help me too much, did it? Because I wanted to see if this thing in ZB is going to move. Now the big order in ZB did tick up a little bit. I don't know. So I would assume that the market maker in ZB has to see that there and knows what it is and how to react to it. But him not just going down there and sinking into it, going, okay, this guy definitely wants it. He's continuing to hold it up there as though he thinks that he's going to force the guy to raise his bid. And he did raise it at least a tick. So you can see here, because we knew that 22.5 and 22 were both balanced interest prices, we're able to get a good position in the queue at 22. It might not come back down there and fill me now, but at least we got a good position in the queue, right? So my probability of getting filled there at 22 was higher because we knew that about that price. Now, the downside of the particular situation that we're in right now is that very often I will find that they will, when they fill me, that they just gap down. Like that everything at 22 just completely pulls. And they trade 700 and they tick down, and then you're like, oh, I wish that I was still short. That happens all the time. Okay, so E-mini is pushing session highs now. Regular session highs. I look at this run up in the E-mini and I'm like, oh, I should have taken it. But then I look at the 30-minute chart and I'm like, nope, actually. I have no clue what the E-mini is going to do. And I probably shouldn't have even taken probably shouldn't have even taken the short that I did or the long that I did in the E-mini. Sounds like you need a better entry plan. Uh, well, I don't know what you're saying. I think that what's happening to me lately is I'm taking signals that used to be good that aren't good anymore. So I'm taking trades out of habit. So I don't think it's necessarily that it's like I'm in front of the screen per se, as much as it is that I'm like, oh, this is a good trade. It looks like it's going to do the thing, but the market action has changed. Okay, so they filled me there at 22, and it's still kind of a little iffy. So I think that was right. I wish though that I could have gotten 21. I was looking to get the 4 ticks. I actually kind of thought there for a second that I was going to get 6. So I really think I really saw some strong things at 20 when that first happened. And so I was expecting us to balance down there. But so far we're not. We're just kind of going sideways. Anyways, but there's the exit plan thing. Like, the thing that's frustrating about that trade is that, okay, so you got a good position in the queue. About 50% of the time it fills and it does like what it's doing right now, where it might not even tick down, and if it does, it's not like getting into 21.5. And so taking it off at 22, I'm happy that I took it off at 22, right? But the other 50% of the time, they just blow right through it. So, but it is an indication that you were seeing something there, right? Because now the market maker is playing games with people there. No. So after all of that, So you can see here in this action. So that one was really, really bad. That one was okay. I mean, there was some favorable excursions with it. I think that one, I actually did take that off in a place that I should have. So the thing that that what happened here on this one was I went short. I saw it move down. Let's do it over here on this. So I saw that it moved down and that it was coming back, right? So this all happened really quick. And then it came to here, so I went short, right? And then it did this, and I said, okay, so maybe it wants to revert a little bit more. What I can do is I can take the profit here and go short here again. And that didn't work. And then it came back up here, and I took the other one at 13, right here, which at the time appeared to be okay risk. But man, that trend just really pushed out of nowhere. So that one, I'm going to say it's probably okay. Then we came up to here, 19.5. I think at that point I was tilted. And I shorted that one. That one was obviously a very bad idea. And then some of this stuff up here, some of these. So there was this one where I took it short at 20. No, I took it long at 23. Oops. Took it long at 23. Okay. Maybe that was an oak down. I was it towards the top of the range. Then they took it down to here and I didn't do it. Then I got short up here. That was okay. See here, by this point, I could realize that it was range bound and that it was choppy, and that if they gave me an overextension that I could take in, so I took it there. That was a good trade. Should have taken it off the first time when it came back down here, but oh well. Hard, tough call for that one, but I need to move back to just taking them. I'm trying to swing too big. What did it actually come out to if without the E-mini? No, that's not right. So that's one. And that's 2. And a half. And this is 1. So 3, 4, minus 2. Should be close. Oh, 281. Now it's showing it correctly. Okay. And then there was the E-mini trade that just went right through me, right? That one was weird. Those ones mess with your head, man. Because I believe that what I took there was just random. I saw, okay, there's a big order here. There's less trading here. There's less trading here. Seems like this is a place that it can stop. I buy it. And then all of a sudden, it just moves down 10 ticks, just like that. So I think that was random, but it kind of messes with your head like, oh man, either I'm doing the exact opposite thing or somebody's hunting me or who knows what, you know? Those are crazy. When did I take that one, by the way? So I don't think I took that at the right time. Opened 7:37:03. No, I took it at a time that I was allowed to take it. Maybe I should have waited for 15 minutes. So if I had waited for 15 minutes, what would that have helped? How would that have helped? No, that wouldn't have helped. Because we didn't bottom until 8 o'clock. So maybe I should just wait the full 30 minutes. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. I think that the top of the hour is when I want to take that trade. You took the day off today? No. So I like to leave at about 8:30, but I don't have to be gone until 9. So we're holding on to that one, and then I wanted to yap about it because yapping about it makes me feel better. Now, in the end, it was only minus 7 ticks, right? 8 ticks. But I was trading doubles, so it doesn't look so hot, does it? It's not going to look good on my stats, that's for sure. But the good thing is that I did recognize the choppiness. So and I made money off of the choppiness, in fact, too. So, and since we know that it's probably going to start doing that a bit more often, that's a good thing. But still, it goes back to that thing that it's like you can't make money all the time. And this is probably, now that the GDP is out of the way. Okay, next week is FOMC, right? Let me check. April 28th, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yes, next week is FOMC. Let me just show just dollars. What do we got? Ooh, personal spending. That's an important one too. Personal spending, personal income. Chicago PMI, ISM manufacturing PMI, non-farms. So we got a pretty big week next week. I really think that this is going to move down. I think that we're going to get below 122. But I don't really know that. I can't make a prediction that far in advance, really, can we? Because our specialty is just scalping. These are some big orders showing up at 21.5, 21 now. I'm going to be interested to see if we fall through this, but it might take a really long time to do it. Excuse me. But I do think that the Federal Reserve is going to reverse positions at the meeting. And so I think that you could see some strong downtrends next week, especially if those other numbers that we get on Monday and Tuesday are good. And then when we get past that, then the next week after that, we get inflation data. And the week after that, retail sales, but then it really starts to die down, right? And then you're into the summer action. So this is where I think that we could have a good week next week. But after that, for sure, we're cutting down the risk. For sure. Okay. Well, anyways, I enjoyed talking to you. Appreciate it. I feel kind of silly because I definitely got, we'll just say emotional and tilty there when it was moving up. I just didn't believe it. I was just like, this doesn't make any sense to me. And how was I to know that it was going to go up that much? I don't know. But it was really dumb to fight it. So I feel dumb. But that'll happen from time to time, won't it? All right. And we should have our little political video again on Monday. I think it should be a good one because we got a lot to talk about. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.